Hello, ladies and gentlemen, people returning to Tech Talks once again. I have a very special episode this time, simply because that the company that we are going to be talking to has had a marvelous landmark 2022 in its results. Not just that, some of the work that this company has been doing in India in the last year is truly noteworthy. And I have the distinct pleasure to have Mr. Amit Midha, the president for APJ, Asia Pacific and Japan of Dell Technologies, to have joined us. Amit is on screen with us right now. I have the explicit permission from him to call him Amit, and so I'm just going to do exactly that. Hi, Amit. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And good to hello to all of your listeners as well.
Amit, as I was mentioning in the introduction, it has been quite a landmark year for Dell last year. I was just looking at some of the numbers and I really thought it was mind blowing. We were talking like 100 billion up in terms of revenue. And the fact that it was coming from continued growth across all business units was really interesting. Do you quickly just want to take us through some of this and especially shine light on how the region and India in particular performed?
Yeah, listen, first of all, thanks for having me. And the society, the way we interact with each other, the way we live, the way we work, everything is changing. In the last couple of years, through pandemic, as we have seen, technology kept working. It kept us at our home, but performing and doing work that we needed to do. We made the work a task rather than a place. And I think this will continue. What this has given is a new way of working, a new way of doing things. Moreover, digitization is happening, whether you're using mobile payments or you're buying online, or you're using any other services that are being facilitated online, be it Netflix or otherwise. This is creating a big digitization drive across the entire society. Now that creates a tremendous prosperity for coming future. I have seen this in China. I lived there for almost a decade. I saw this is how China changed. And this is what I have said before. This is the decade of India. Now, coming back to this, FY22, which is what we just finished, was our best year in our history. So we had a record revenue of 101.2 billion, record profitability of 7.8, non-GAAP revenue, cash flow from ops was also record 7.1 billion. I think in Q4 we saw, again, I will have to say record many times, but 28 billion. And so we're pretty proud of how these results have been. So I want to take a moment to say thank you to our customers, partners, team members who are making this happen. There is a big technology driven outcomes that customers and partners are seeing and investing. And that is why our results are what they are. So again, that's the context. If you see APJ view, APJ grew faster than global numbers. Global numbers are suggesting that our client business grew 17%, server and networking grew 8%. Our APJ business grew faster than that. So we're pretty proud of that. And India business grew faster than APJ. So we're pretty proud of that as well. So, so pretty exciting times to be in this business.
India business also because the headroom for growth for India was there, the foundation work was done, and digital transformation took off. So actually many companies do have a similar experience such as you. However, now we are coming back to normalcy. There is a little bit of the oscillation of the pendulum after the second wave, so on and so forth, may be settling a little bit. Just tell me from a business momentum standpoint, how do some of the things change and where do they settle as we get deeper into 2022?
Listen, we're building a company for decades and centuries ahead, and that means the different cycles will happen through this life cycle. We need to make the company resilient, we need to be relevant, and we need to innovate and change. And that's what we continue to do. So first of all, we are in the early innings of technology drive. Whether you think about the 5G, you think about the edge, autonomous car, you look at how we will interact with each other, maybe in metaverse or Web3. I think the data-driven values are just getting started. So I think we're in the golden age of technology-driven societal outcomes, which will be far superior, will create great jobs, and will create great prosperity for the nations who learn to harness this. So coming back closer to this, I think India is continuing to attract venture capital. The startups are happening. As startups continue to become mature, established companies are continuing to invest in technology to differentiate, whether it's about, stock exchanges, stock brokering, or manufacturing, or hospitality, or even the, kind of medcare and education. So investment will continue in our minds because there's no alternative for larger companies as well as smaller companies. Technology is the edge. Technology is the great differentiator. And it's a force multiplier, what we call it. So I think we're pretty confident about that the investment in technology will continue, digitization will keep happening, startups will keep showing us how we can do things better, cheaper, faster. And that's the benchmark that everyone will have to meet or follow.
Perfect. Let us slice this a little bit. Force multiplier, love that. Now, from a growth, or rather areas of growth, and hence your investment areas for the future, is there anything that kind of stands out there as specific areas where you see the next level of alternate or mainstream revenues coming in?
Well, first of all, from an investment perspective, if you stand back, customers are talking about multi-cloud. They're talking about, hey, I do not want to just go to one single cloud. I don't want to get locked in or outsourced to one location. They're asking for us to provide them cloud as an operating model for everything they do. And the best way to do that, where they have the control on their data, on their spending, and everything else, is around multi-cloud. Second, they're all talking about, if I'm having this much insights about customer, I'm trying to drive the automation. How do I make sure that I can put data to use to create outcome in terms of efficiency, customer experiences, business adjacencies? So that's kind of is also the area that we're going to continue to invest. 3, from the new growth investment area, as I mentioned, the 5G and telco are tremendous opportunity. Along with that comes the edge. Edge is where the smart machines are around the network. And wherever the data gets produced is where data is get processing. So that's edge piece is also taking off in a significant way. We're also looking at security issues. As everything becomes digital, security issues are forefront. And this is the topic where customers are saying, this is a trust issue, this is a brand issue, this is a meet comp issue that they have to continue to work on. And not only we help them with the cybersecurity, we also give them plan B, where there is a cyber vault where they can protect their data, they can keep the data, and they can always get back on track if something goes disastrously wrong. And finally, the sustainability. So this is the area where customers are saying, I want to make sure my digital operations are carbon neutral, they are green, and so this is a journey they want to be on. We as a company have committed to making sure that we are recycling one device for every device we sell by 2030. So that's the electronic waste issue. We're also working with customers to reduce their carbon footprint. And by 2050, we have said scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 will be carbon neutral, carbon zero for us and for all our products and services. So that's the 5th area that I think I should mention that the customers are talking about, and we'll continue to invest in that.
This is broad stroke for the entire region, or does it kind of go a little up and down when you look at India in particular?
No, we are a global company. This is, in fact, I was surprised with how much traction I'm getting in India through my visits on security and sustainability. And I think one of the customers said that, as much as, maybe 80+% of customers may have been, hacked and they just don't know about it. That's not my statement, that's the customer statement. But the point being is that that's kind of what the concern is at this time. And there are many examples where customers have gotten locked out and they have to pay ransom to get back on. And I think that's exactly what we are trying to prevent. Sustainability also is a huge area. A lot of large brands, large companies, global companies, they have said, how can we be part of this journey? Oh, this is important. This is something we have spoken about, but we don't have a game plan. Can you help us build a game plan? And I think that's another area that I was positively surprised how much traction there is. But in terms of the multi-cloud, the edge, the 5G, and the data stack, I think those things I expected, because that's kind of the evolution we have seen across the world, across the region. So that I expected for customers to give nod to. But the other two areas, they're pretty strong, and all five of these will be relevant for India. And I'm pretty excited about what we can do for our customers here in India.
Right, perfect. I did have a question, try and understand what your customers are saying, but because you've just listed your growth areas and opportunities, but you proceeded by saying that's what the customers are asking for right now, I'm guessing that's really coming to you in terms of some of the top lines that you hear in most meetings. From an India perspective, anything that's interesting, something that's really keeping them awake, apart from the points that you mentioned?
One of the I have heard from the customer also that they, instead of just buying a product, deploying it, they would like to just call it a buy it as a service, right? So that way they have a more like a cloud-like architecture, even for the purchases they want to make. They also want to make sure that we can provide them storage and make it a native cloud service, and be it GCP or AWS and others. They would like us to create a new developer experience, on this. And so those kind of sort of things I heard more, and I think we have good solutions for all of that. And I just think that we need to bring it to fore for our customers here. But more importantly, every customer I visited, they appreciated how much the Dell team here in India helped them and supported them. Last 2 years, some of them needed products urgently. Some of them had significant challenges. In many cases, their team members couldn't make it, and we had to go and do things. So I heard from universally from everyone say, thank you for being there for us. We appreciate it. This will not be forgotten. And this is going to take our relationship to the next level. And I thought that was a very kind gesture for customers to say that. And also it was a proof to me that Dell is truly a customer-centric company, which is what we say. But when you hear this from customer, it's always gratifying to hear.
Perfect. Got it. I just want to try and understand everything that you mentioned that Dell is happening, everybody else do. Anything that you would like to add from your own sense, your own commitment towards going green, anything from a social impact standpoint?
Listen, I think one piece that I'm hearing consistently is that, India cannot achieve its full potential unless we have the talent. Right now the talent is a big issue. Talent readiness and kind of talent's readiness for the experience. So part of the piece that we have been working on is to work with the governments and the other organization to create disadvantaged communities and disadvantaged group of people to be able to participate in this tech economy. Tech economy creates significant opportunity. And I think whether it's animation and graphics, it is about whether women in programming, women who code, or whether it's about creating a more tinkering labs, all of these areas, we think we have to participate as a large company and be part of the solution, which is around making sure that the tech economy doesn't create the inequality, it creates the participation from all walks of, all aspects of society. So I think that's something that we're taking on. We can give you some additional data, but we have worked with SheCode. We launched a SheCode's Innovation Challenge recently. This is going to have 6.6 million students that are trained through this, as well as we have trained 5,000 teachers. So that is fantastic. We have worked with Microsoft and Hope Foundation to support and educate 100,000 underserved students across India and 1,000 visually impaired government school teachers in Tamil Nadu on digital literacy. This is we have worked with Kaushal Kendra, Dell, Kaushal Kendra, right, which is where we worked with government of Pondicherry to have the state-of-the-art computer hardware lab for training youth on computer manufacturing and repair services. We would launch the first Atal Tinkering Lab in Mumbai in associated with Niti Aayog and Hope and Raspberry Pi Foundation to encourage students to think creatively and break the curriculum barriers, And I can go on. Project Future Ready, Center of Excellence. We have a startup with a Métis Startup Hub, where we're going to be impacting more than 3,000 startups. So I think the point being is we have global goals, right? So we have said globally that we want 50-50 in terms of gender diversity in our company by 2030. We have said that we're going to take one product out for every product we sell. So that's kind of electronic waste side. We have said that we're gonna be executing and working as the most ethical and most privacy-centric company in the world. And now we are the 9th year in a running most ethical company. We're going to be part of the community in helping whenever communities are impacted, and be it disaster recovery or be it in terms of education and removing the biases or negative impact that they may have because of lack of access to the tools and technology. So that's kind of what we have said. So that's a global goals. But then how do we break it down and how do we do it in each country? And that's what I do. That's what we are here for. And so I'm pretty proud of our India team to have the huge amount of volunteerism, huge amount of engagement, huge amount of leadership, and huge amount of impact. And all of those things matter. I think we still, in larger scheme of things, this is still a drop in the bucket, so to speak. And I think we have to do more. We have to have more people and more companies engage on all of these programs so we can really create a significant impact from environmental perspective, from a talent perspective, and from a social inclusion and diversity perspective.
Brilliant, brilliant, awesome answer. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, I'm on the last leg of my questions right now. In a sense, once again, this will allude a little bit to what you just said in terms of the growth areas that you're looking at. But I'm just thinking from a 2020 and beyond. So these are all the present areas. They're all important present areas, whether it's multi-cloud, security. However, post this, any kind of technology trends that you want to tell us about that will shape the APJ technology landscape?
Well, there are plenty, but think about how we are interacting and how we dematerialize everything over time. So how could we create technology which is omnipresent and it's in many ways is sentient being all around us? We have seen many of the sci-fi movie, but I would say metaverse has a journey which will take next few years, if not a decade, and that's basically is creating a immersive experiences where each brand will be able to engage with their stakeholders in a much more positive way and much more engaging way, and they will create more fans, more advocates. We have Web 3.0, by which company gets more networked and flat, and dynamic relationship can be established on an ongoing basis. You'll have some sort of quantum computing where a lot of these security challenges will get sorted out and will also help us solve some of the healthcare problems or creating new materials issue that we can't do today in today's context. And then, of course, if you think about it, how 6G starts in 2028. How we get control of our own data in this new context. If more data is being collected, what control do we have? So those privacy issues will also be forefront of this. So as I look ahead, I remain very optimistic. I remain a person who looks at technology being a force multiplier for good. I think we ourselves believe, we as a company, believe that technology drives human progress. And that has what has happened, whether it was a first set of stone tools to axe, to fire, to steam engines, to computers, to network, internet, to where we are today. So I think this will continue to happen. If anything, it will happen faster. And that creates that creates some of the closing comments. I think change is the only constant. We have to evolve ourselves continually. We ourselves have to think what's around the corner. And so the talent issue that we thought talent was all about, go to school for 4 or 5 years, or school means college, and then maybe you do some graduation and then you're set for life. That is not the model we are going towards. The word we are going towards is a lot more innovative, a lot more fast changing, and it's going to require for all of us, including myself, to keep pace with changes and be more relevant for what's ahead. And I think that is a different type of problem. than in what we have done in the past. Government may have subsidized schools in the past, but they may or may not have created a framework by which continuing education can happen. And that's where corporations have to come in, individuals have to come in. And this as a muscle doesn't exist today. So while technology will continue to evolve and we'll have more processing power, we believe we're going to have in 10 to 15 years, we will have 1,000x more power for the same space that we use, same price we pay today, 1,000x. So if you have a car today that drives at 60 kilometers an hour, think about you can drive in 15 years 60,000 times, because every 5-year technology goes 10x. So technology will continue to evolve. We'll have trillions of sensors everywhere. We'll have so much data being collected. We'll create a much more immersive world where we may get lost. We'll have a new healthcare outcomes. But what we have to remember is how the humans adapt to this, manage this change, and really create a human progress out of this. That's up to us. And that's what my wish and hope is, that we will have the leaders who understand technology. We'll have the leaders, both corporate and public and government, where they will look at harnessing technology, adapting people, changing process to really be relevant and thrive through this coming data era. And I'm pretty excited about it. I, for one, planning on changing along the way and being more relevant and being thriving through this. I hope all of you do as well. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amit. I'm sure everybody who heard you is going to be more excited about what lies ahead. I'm grateful for your time and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.